Hello guys, this is Sabriel from AltChar, and today we want to run through some of the different alphabet game genres. What's an alphabet game, you ask? Well, they're the ones you probably only know by letters: RPG, FPS, MOBA, and so on. We hear of them all the time, but if you haven't actually played them or tend to mostly stick to one kind of game, you might be wondering what some of them are and what are good examples to start with. Let's start with the easiest to spot: FPS, first-person shooter. FPS are characterized by real-time fast-paced action which you see through the eyes of the character, hence first person. And you tend to do a lot of shooting in them, so yeah, FPS. There's debate over which was the first, but the one that really set the ball rolling was without doubt Doom, which also introduced multiplayer matches and overnight reset the bar. In fact, this format has become so popular that some developers don't really bother too much with single-player modes, putting the bulk of their energy into multiplayer modes. Examples of first-person shooters include Battlefield, Call of Duty, Destiny, Far Cry, Halo, Doom, and so on. Any one of those will give you a great idea of what FPS is all about. The next genre we're covering is RPG, role-playing games. These are typically adventure games that usually incorporate three key elements. 1. A specific main story and quest, and a bunch of smaller side stories and quests which expand the game's lore. 2. Character evolution or leveling, which sees you as the main character gain experience and unlocks a ton of new skills by completing quests and slaying foes and so on. And lastly, number 3, inventory management and crafting, essential to making progress in the game's world. These items include weapons, armor, healing items, magic, and so on. A perfect example of a recent RPG to get your feet wet is the Witcher franchise, especially The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which was named the best RPG game of 2016. It's pang up to date and available on all platforms, and there's lots of deals out there for it. Next up is MMO, which stands for Massively Multiplayer Online. Even though most modern games can go online, MMO offers a significantly broader experience, as the MMO game world can be populated by thousands and even millions of players in a real-time space. Like RPGs, you can view the world first person or third person or from directly above. It's not the key identifier. MMOs are often mixed RPG elements, creating the hybrid known as MMORPG or Massively Multiplayer Online role-playing game. Now, here's where things can get a bit tricky, as there are some key differences between MMORPGs and MMOs. The first thing we should note is that all MMORPGs are MMOs, but not all MMOs are MMORPGs. Here's what we mean. An example of an MMO is Audition, a fun game where your goal is to be the best dancer. In it, you compete against other players in dance-offs, earning you points to level up and gain ranks. So far, so MMO. Now, the reason why Audition can be considered an MMORPG is because it does not take place in a fictional setting. You are represented by an avatar, but it's all meant to look like a real-life place. An example of an MMORPG would be the daddy of them all, World of Warcraft. In WoW, you create an otherworldly character and fight mythical monsters as you level up alongside or against friends or strangers, all in the imaginary world of Azeroth. It's this combination of fictional character and fictional world that makes it the perfect example of an MMORPG. So basically, if you're not sure whether a game is an MMO or an MMORPG, just ask yourself, does the game in question take place in a real-life setting, or is it set in a fantasy land? If it's the latter, then it's most likely an MMORPG. Next up, it's MOBA, Multiplayer Online Battle Arena. In a MOBA, you control a single character in one of two teams. Usually, the goal is to destroy the opposing team's main structure with the assistance of computer-controlled minions that march forward along set paths. Player characters have a wide range of abilities and advantages at their disposal, all of which can be crucial for winning the game. MOBA games are all about perfect timing and strategy, so choosing a character with the right abilities is of utmost importance. You control only a single character, the hero or champion, who plays the pivotal role. As the game rages on, you level your hero up with skills and abilities and new different items in order to destroy the enemy team's fortress, all the while aided by the faithful minions. The prime examples of MOBA are Dota 2 and League of Legends, but if they prove a little intimidating, Smite is arguably more accessible. They're all great. Similar to MOBA are RTS, real-time strategy games, which follow a similar path but have key differences too. The object in an RTS is usually also to conquer an enemy by strategic maneuvering and warfare, but on a much larger scale. The maps can be huge. RTS are all about building armies, maintaining an economy, and creating perfect defenses to protect your dominion and against enemy troops. In RTS games, single characters don't play an important role, and you have to think much more in terms of whole armies, nations, and empires. The most notable examples of an RTS are Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos and Age of Empires, but a nice one to dip your toe in the water is Rise of Nations. So those were some of the best known and most talked about Alphabet games, and hopefully you're a little better able to spot one from another. More and more, of course, you'll get different elements of each rolled into one as studios try to combine audiences and game styles. Destiny is a good example of this as a sort of FPS RPG, and also Borderlands with its FPS action and RPG loot system. Another unusual example is Rocket League, which follows the basic rules of football but replaces human players with racing cars. It's a simple yet amazing concept which serves as a prime example that hybrid games can be pretty awesome if executed correctly. So we hope we've answered some of the questions that might have been bugging you. If you have any more questions on any other genres we forgot to mention, by all means let us know and we'll be happy to help here or on the AltChar site. Thank you very much for watching, and this is Subriel, and see you very soon.